we're back. This is Arielle.
Steve, shiftman, lawyer.
Anyway, we did discuss about living here and how cool it is living in Las Vegas.
Well, let me ask before we start the next section, because usually you say hello to your friends and family.
We will do that on the last segment.
Oh, you're going to do the last segment.
I wanna do that. I always do that on the last segment, so we're gonna shout out with everybody else.
Anyway,
watching.
you mentioned you gave a tease on immigration. What Trump announced, saying that now he will reunite the children, but technically speaking, and it's not really discussed yet, is where will the children go if the parents are in jail or being held in retention? Should they be with the parents in retention or not? That's one of the issues being discussed. However, the broader picture is whether you have to ask yourself, did the parents do a disjustice? Did they use their children as pawns, knowing that they'll get special treatment with their children rather than being alone? What do you think?
Well, I think they will get a special treatment because of the children.
And do they come here because of that?
Well, they come here.
Factor?
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of family and friends also that they're here. Okay, and I went through the system legality. Right. A lot of people come here for privilege, and also what's going on here is we have a life here.
That's right.
We have a life here compared to the other country. Mm-hmm. That they have. Mexico, Philippines, more countries. Mm-hmm. That it's a poor country that our president doesn't want to take care of them. If only its leaders in other country, in our country or wherever country, take care of their country, these things will not be happening.
Well,
if only Mexico, Philippines, other countries, China, whatever. Well, I don't know. All the countries that maybe what else?
I understand what you're saying.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. I wanna mention the whole country. How about that?
The whole world?
The whole world. How about the whole world? Everybody wants to come in the USA because they know for a fact this is the life.
But there's a difference of following the system. Now, I'll give you an example of, let's say, a parallel to what happened in Latin America. I recall a few years ago, maybe not so many, a few years ago, but back probably 10 or 20 years ago, in the Philippines, you had a separatist movement, the Islamic separatist militants in the southern part of the Philippines, right?
Yes.
They were fighting.
Yes.
And it was dangerous for people to live there. What happens if the Filipinos said, well, we have to take refuge in the United States because our area in the south was fighting? And they got on boats. You think we should have allowed them to come in illegally?
No, let me interrupt you with that. The only thing is the bad part, because the country has Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Mindanao has a Muslim, and they want to fight it. They're asking the president from day one to separate Mindanao,
That's
but
right.
we cannot do that.
I understand that.
Because it's only one country.
Exactly.
They cannot separate that, and they want to create their own rules and regulations.
Right.
They want to create their own money, but you cannot do that.
Exactly. But let's suppose that you were I don't know, for lack of a better word, a Christian Filipino living near there and said, I can't live near that border. It's terrorists. It's fighting. I want to go to the United States. I'm going to bring my family and fly here and get here illegally. Should we accept them because of that? I don't think so.
Well,
I think they have to go through legal ways.
If they're going to go to the legal ways,
that's right.
But it's so hard to get the legal ways. There's they have to go through the hoops. By the time they will be hungry and killed, because you got to remember, no matter how other country hate America, this is the life. I want to see life because
they do.
Because you know what? Either they hate the country, USA, but they still want to come here.
Well, I tell people all the time, having worked overseas, how many American embassies lack of people trying to get in on tourist visas? It's always crowded. Like you said, it's always the case. So people want to come here. But is it fair, if you go through the legal system, is it fair for somebody to butt ahead of you and get ahead in your line to say, well, I'm special? How do you feel?
Well, no, then the system should work this way. The people that it's already in the system, they should process it first, and they should be the next.
That's right.
It should not be special just because. They should at least, for those people who has been waiting for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or more than that, they should at least take care of that system before this.
It's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. And the bad one, they should kick them out.
Now, also,
You know what I mean?
yes, and also it's important as a lawyer who studied international law. I went to school in England on this as
Okay.
well.
Mm-hmm.
The way refugees and asylum works is usually you go to your nearest venue, your nearest location where you can take refuge. You don't cherry pick, which means pick and choose. So if you live in Central America, you go through the next or closest country that will give you asylum, that will give you refugee status. Now, between Central America or Latin America and the United States, you have Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Why couldn't all these people take refuge in Mexico, let the Mexican do it, and ask assistance from the U.S., from the United Nations to help resettle them? Why did the Mexicans say, we don't want you, go to the United States anyway?
Well, you know what? Because United States always have a good heart. They're always open. American always have a good heart to people. That's one thing that we have here in the USA. That's why they always want to come here, because America cannot say no. America always take them in.
They do, and on the other hand, we are a rule of law, aren't we?
Yes, of course.
What would happen if everybody in Asia, for example, in Thailand, in Indonesia, suddenly by boat went to the Philippines? Do you think the Philippines would take that, or would they go upset? Really?
They're not gonna be upset. They will take them in.
You think
know,
so?
Well, President
I don't
Duterte,
think so.
I know President Duterte changed a lot.
Okay.
Changed a lot, but I don't like. Well, speaking of that, I don't like his rules and regulation this time, because they're. I don't know. I want to see this one. I know I'm live right now, and I want to shout out to everybody who's watching us. What he's trying to do now is let this we call it tambay, or people wants to have a good time outside that go home early. I think that's not fair. That's just like communists. It's like you don't have any more freedom. You know,
Right.
he wants those people after, you know, maybe the sunset goes down, he wants those people to go home. What about the people who are working 24 hours a day? What about the people who wants to just do karaoke and sing, have fun with the family? He wants that out. He wants everybody to go home. He doesn't want everybody just hanging around in the street. And that's not fair.
Yeah,
If you're not doing bad things, why do that? That's just like communists.
Yeah, well, it comes down to this. If you want to be a refugee, and I believe there's a reason for taking asylum, you do that when your life is at stake, not because you can't get a good job or because some gang is against me. That's how I personally feel. You can have sympathy for these people, but you don't travel 3,000 miles when you can get asylum or refugee status going 100 miles, for example. I recall when Australia faced the same issue, what they called the Vietnamese boat people, where they were taking refuge. Now, it's interesting, and the way the law changed in the United States, if you came from a communist country, you were automatically entitled to refugee status.
Excuse me for a moment. I
Sure.
think this is our guest, but he's calling me. Hi, I'm live right now. Are you here inside the studio? No, go to the other one, the Gene Woods car racing. Good. I did text it to you. I can see you walking. Keep coming down here. Okay, I'm coming back. All right, thank you. Sorry, guys.
Wow, this is live.
That's live. We have another guest, but hopefully she can make it. She's walking.
Who is she?
Well, her name is Eileen. Anyway, let's go back. Well, people sometimes they want to come in the USA for
That's
have
right.
a better life.
Right.
You know, because in my country alone, living there is not enough. Either you're a professional,
That's
either
right.
you graduate doctors or nurses. That's why we have a lot of teachers, nurses, doctors here in the USA, because to have a good life.
I understand that.
This is the other people wants to have a good life here. You're right. They brought their little children, and that's the one they're trying to fight now. What's Trump will do?
Well, again, Trump said that he will now put them together. However, where are you going to put the children and the parents? Are they going to go into retention centers? You're going to give them free on bail? No, perhaps the easiest way is saying summary judgment, you're out. And just say go back to Mexico in blanc rather than bring any criminal charges. But there's a greater problem that has to be addressed down the line is, are you encouraging people to come here with children knowing it will cause a problem, knowing that you'll get a free ticket inside, as opposed to coming here by yourself?
What are you going to do? Let's say you win your Congress. What are you going to do? Tell me, since you're a Democrat.
In terms of what specifically? You know,
What are you
it's a
going to
very
do to
general
this
problem.
situation?
Well,
Like the kids are in the detention and the parents is in detention.
if they came here illegally, I would say tomorrow you go back out.
All right,
That's
we'll be right back. We'll talk about that on the third segment, and we have a guest coming from the Philippines. They're gonna talk about properties in the Philippines, SM Property, and of course, we're gonna shout out the people who are watching us today. We'll be right back.